It's Joey Osborne. For today's video, we're going to be doing another NFL 2023 mock draft. So we're going to do a 2.0 version here today. So basically that means the after free agency one. So NFL free agency hit and a lot of things changed. And first thing from last time that's pretty new is Chicago now does not have the first overall pick anymore. Carolina traded up from 9 to 1 and give up 2 first-round picks in a pretty crazy trade. I don't know if they should have done that, but hey, well, that's what they did, and yeah. So we're gonna do a mock draft here, and we're gonna be, getting into it here. So we're using the same mock draft database we were using last time, so the NFL mock draft database simulator. So we're gonna use that at the same time here, and we're gonna have some fun with this here. So yeah, so first overall pick, Carolina. They're gonna stay at first overall, of course. You wouldn't trade up to first overall and then trade down. That doesn't make any sense. And here, honestly, see, let me say before again here, I'm only doing 3 rounds here so far. So we're only doing 3 rounds, the first 3 rounds today. So basically, when we get close to the actual draft, I'll do a 4-7 round mock draft. Of course, I don't know if everyone want to watch that because it'll probably be like an hour, but I'll do more like a 7 when we get close to it. So right now I was just doing the first 3 rounds because it doesn't make any sense to go all out with whole 7 round mock draft yet. But when we get closer to the draft, then we'll start getting into all that good stuff. So yeah, let's get going here with Carolina. And I mean, also, they're taking a quarterback, but they're not taking Stroud and they're not taking Bryce Young. They are obsessed with one quarterback here, I think, and that is Anthony Richardson. I think that is who goes. Oh yeah, bust start. That is who goes first overall. Is Anthony Richardson. They're obsessed with the guy. I think that's why they trade up for him because he had a great combine. And I think that's what happens. I think that is who they take. So next up here we got the Houston Texans. And they're also going to go quarterback here. And I think they're going to go with the guy they've been looking at for literally 2 years now. They're going to draft Bryce Young out of Alabama. I think he is their pick, and that is who they go after. And so with that, we go to Arizona here now, the 3rd overall pick. And I think they're going to take Will Anderson Jr., the edge rusher out of Alabama. I think that is their pick. I think he's the best, player they could get at that position. I definitely think he should work very well there. I think that's a good move for them. I think they're gonna really like that move, and it's gonna be, I think definitely they need some edge rushers to help with J.J. Watt retiring, and that pretty much will help them out pretty good there. So next up here we got the Indianapolis Colts, and I got them taking the quarterback C.J. Stroud out of Ohio State. I think, honestly, Stroud is the best quarterback in this draft, but I feel like the teams ahead of Indianapolis value different quarterbacks. I think Carolina values Richardson a ton, and I think the Houston Texans value Bryce Young a ton. And honestly, I see why they do, but I don't think they're the best ones in the draft. I think C.J. Stroud is undoubtedly the best one in the draft. I don't think you can say he's not. He's a great player. I think there's a lot of great things here. And I think Indianapolis, they've been looking for their quarterback of the future. I do think that is Stroud. I don't think Stroud's going to be a top 5 quarterback in the NFL, but I think he could be around top 10. I think he's a guy who can win you a Super Bowl. The other 2, I don't think they can. I think Stroud is the only quarterback in this draft class that can win you a Super Bowl, and Indianapolis goes out and they get him. So next up here we got Seattle, and I'm thinking a lot here, but they have a lot of interesting places they can go here. And honestly, this is going to be interesting, but I think they're going to go with some offensive line help, and they're going to get another tackle to help out with the offensive line. They're going to draft Paris Johnson Jr. out of Ohio State. I think that's their pick. And then next up here, we have the Detroit Lions. And I know last time we had someone comment in the comment section that they should have taken a cornerback here. And last draft, but honestly, I could see after the last draft, but it seems to me they've really addressed the situation in free agency, so I don't think they're going to draft a cornerback with this pick. They could with the second pick, I think, at 18, but I don't think they're gonna draft it at 6. I think at 6 they're gonna try to get some more help here for Aiden Hudson. I think they're gonna go Tyree Wilson. And why am I going Tyree Wilson? Is because I think there's a lot of concerns with Jalen Carter and the whole incident with the car accident, and a lot of teams are gonna be scared away from that. I think a lot of teams don't want to deal with that, so I don't think he is going to be get drafted. I think he's going to be top 15, but I don't think he's going to be anything big here on that. So next up here we have the Raiders, and you know what? I think we're going to have a trade here. I think the Raiders are going to trade down. So the Raiders here are going to trade with Chicago. I think Chicago's going to trade up here from 9 to 7, and they're going to give up one of their. They're going to give up second round pick at 64 here. They're going to trade, and they're going to trade up to 7, and they're going to draft Jalen Carter. I told you he'd fall, but I didn't in the top 15. I didn't say that it would be the next pick, but yeah, I think Chicago looks over the risk, and they decide to get him, because this guy definitely has the talent to be a face of the franchise at, the position he's in. I definitely think it's an interesting move for them to go after. I think that's what they want to go after. I think Jalen Carter's the guy for Chicago. And I think Chicago's had a great offseason. I think it continues by drafting him here. I do have some concerns about the character, like everyone does, but I think overall the talent's exceeded, and I think Chicago realizes that, and they take him now. I think he's probably a face of the defense for years to come. So next up here we have the Atlanta Falcons, and I'm gonna say here a lot of places they can go. They've been needing some help defensively for a while here, but they also could be going offense. And honestly, what I'm thinking here is I don't think they go in cornerback. I don't think that's where it's gonna be. So I think most likely is they need some help on the O-line. They have a younger offense probably coming in here. So honestly, what I really think here is I think they go with I think they go with Peter Skoronzik. I know that seems like a odd one to have there, but I do think they have a young offense. They probably do want to build off it. They've already retained some of the offensive line. Peter Skoronzik is a great offensive talent, a tackle, and I think he is a good pick for Atlanta to take, honestly. A cornerback, it's interesting. I don't think they go there, though. They could also go edge with Myles Murphy here as well. But I think in this mock draft, I'm going to go for Skoronski as who they take with the pick, because they are looking for definite help on the offensive line, and I think that is where they go. And next up here are the Raiders, and honestly, at Las Vegas, they're going to go with a quarterback, and they're going to go Will Levis. Do I think Levis is that good of a pick? No, but they need a quarterback. Jimmy Garoppolo is not going to cut it. So that's where they're going to go. And next up here, we have the Philadelphia Eagles. Defending runners up here. They have an NFC champs, and there's a lot of holes now in the defense. They do need a safety, but I don't think they get this pick. I think they're going to go with the running backs. That's a bigger hole, and they're going to draft Bijan Robinson out of Texas. And that's to fix the hole that's being left by Miles Sanders. And now next up here we have the Tennessee Titans. And I think they're going to go edge rusher here. Their pass rush other than Jeffrey Simmons has been, very lackluster. They thought bringing Bud Dupree in would fix it. It did not. He had a lot of injuries. So I think they decide to address it here, and they're going to go edge, and they're going to go Myles Murphy out of Clemson. Because that's one of their main issues, especially defensively, and that's where they go. And next up here we have the Houston Texans. And I think here what the Houston does is they're going to get some protection. Actually, no, they're not going to get. They'll think about some protection, but I don't think they actually go protection. I think they go wide receiver, and I think who they go with is Quentin Johnston out of TCU. I think he is the pick there at 12. They like what they see out of him. They're going to need a definite wide receiver 1 for Bryce Young. And I think Quentin Johnston is the best fit there, and I think he works well. And next up here, the New York Jets. I'm going to go with here. there's a lot of places they can go. But what I think they do here, and this is interesting, because they have a lot at this position to begin with, but this is a very good cornerback class, and I think it'd be a good time. Like, Breece Hall is really good, as really good pairing with Sauce. But what if you can have three of them in a pairing? And I think they're going to go with Christian Gonzalez out of Oregon. I think that actually is their pick, though, because they're going to have a great 1-2 punch of cornerback. I think that's probably what they will look at. And honestly, I think that is probably what the best pick they got there, I think, overall. So next up here we have the New England Patriots. I think they're going to go wide receiver. And I'm going to say it's going to be Jackson Smith-Njigba out of Ohio State. I think he is going to be a good fit in New England. They need wide receivers. He helps out big time. And I think that's a good move for them to go with, especially if now Juju Smith-Schuster, they can get some more help there. And definitely, should help overall improve where they're at this point here. So next up here we got the Green Bay Packers. And what I think the Packers are going to do here is they're going to go at O-line here. I think they're going to draft Broderick Jones, an offensive tackle out of Georgia. I think Bethauke has had a lot of injuries, and he is getting up there in age. So I think they're going to look for the future at that offensive tackle position. And Broderick Jones falls right into their hands there, and I think it's a smart move that they do take him to help protect Jordan Love, because Jordan Love is now, of course, the face of the franchise to this point. And next up here we have the Washington Commanders. And I would say here about the Commanders, they're an interesting spot. There's a lot of holes in this team, especially offensively. But what I think what they really do here is this: they don't need wide receiver. So I don't think they're going to go Addison, because they already have two really good wide receivers. I think where they go, I think they go tight end. I think that is, because they're going to look definitely all over the place. That's not. I think there's the small place they can go tight end, they can go offensive line here. But they also need some cornerback help, too, because they have only Kendall Fuller right now. And they have a very good defense. But I think they're going to improve it, and they're going to draft Devin Witherspoon out of Illinois. And next up here with the Steelers pick at 17, they're going to stay at 17 here. And they're going to draft Joey Porter Jr., the son of Joey Porter out of Penn State. He is going to be the Pittsburgh Steelers pick. And hopefully the quarterback one for the future. And now next up here we have the Detroit Lions. And this is an interesting spot here. I think what they do is, I think they're going to draft I think they can do Breece. I think, Breece is a good idea. They are buying Breece. I think Brance is a good idea. Quarterback-wise, I think they're not going to do it in the first round. I think it's going to be second round here, because they have small holes. I don't think they go safety, because they already have taken care of safety in free agency with Garner Johnson, of course. So they've already taken care of that. So I don't think that's where they go here. I think what they are going to do here is they're going to get some interior defensive help, and they're going to draft Brian Breece here out of Clemson. But I will say this here to the one Detroit fan who lost last time was mad about cornerbacks. I would say easily that second round pick. This is a deep cornerback draft. So I think that second round pick's a cornerback, which they're probably going to develop for you, get him ready to play. But they need a decent amount of help on the pass rush. They need to build around Hudson there, and I think that's the main area they want to, go at and, look to see what all happens there. And I think that is where the main focus should be, because they have addressed the cornerback situation in free agency to this point by signing guys like Cameron Sutton, and then I think they have a couple other ones there too. And now for the safety, I don't think the secondary is really their problem. I think the main problem right now is defensively. It's at pass rush to make sure you can get the best talent there, and those are the best talents available, and I think they work out well for Detroit. And next up here we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I'm going to say here what they do is they're all over the place, and they do definitely need some help. And what I think they do, because they don't have holes of wide receivers. So I would say Jordan Addison's not in the discussion here. I think definitely defense is probably what the pick is. And I think, O-line, not defense. I think O-line's the pick here, and I think they're going to go to Anton Harrison, the tackle out of Oklahoma. And if you wonder why I'm not going with interior line, They just left go their left tackle recently, I think, and Anton Harrison is a left tackle. I think he's a very good one in this draft. He's getting picked a little high here, in my opinion, but they do need a left tackle, and I think he is, out of what's left, he's still a very good one. He's not as good as the top three, but he's up there as pretty good too. And they do need a guy like, and this is a guy who could, turn into a very good left tackle, in my opinion. And that's what they're looking for, so I think that's what they take here with that pick. Next up, we have Seattle at 20. And what Seattle does here, I think they're going to go get some help with the edge rusher, and they're going to get Lucas Van Ness, the edge rusher out of Iowa. I do think they decided to address that as well. Like, they're okay with getting on pressure and, getting at the quarterback, but I think it's somewhere they can be improved, and I think Van Ness is the kind of guy who can come in there and help you out immediately and help and with that. Next up here, we got the Los Angeles Chargers, and what I think they do here is the running back with, Austin Eckler request on trade is concerning. I think what they do, however, is because Keenan Allen has had some issues staying healthy, and, of course, Mike Williams is good as a 2, but we don't know as a 1. I think what the Chargers do here is they're going to take Jordan Addison out of USC. I think that is where he's going to land. So, no Pittsburgh this time for him. I think that is what happens. And then next up here, we have the Baltimore Ravens. And I think what the Ravens do here is they lost Calais Campbell here, and that was a big presence on their defensive line. I think what they do here is they're going to draft Khalid Consi out of Pittsburgh. I think he's the perfect pick there for them to, go in. I think he can be a very, very good defensive lineman. He has a lot of great potential and skill. And I think this guy could be a big problem for teams in the AFC North for years to come. And I think Baltimore realizes that, and they draft him there. So next up here, we have the Minnesota Vikings. And they've had a lot of turnover all over the place, really, defensively. And I think what they do here is they just cut Dancel, the cornerback. So I'm going to say they're going to go for no cornerback here, Deontay Banks out of Maryland. I think that's their pick because they just go rid of the cornerback that they drafted 2 years ago. But I think because they're trying to reform that defense, I think that is where they go. So the next up here, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars. And this is an interesting one to go here. I think they're going to go offensive line and then go Osiris Torrance. I think they need to protect Trevor Lawrence. They know that. That's the right pick, I think, for them. Because they need help on the O-line. Like, it's improved, but, like, they do need some more help there. I think that's the kind of guy they bring in to help improve that even more here. So I think that's what I'll pick. And next up here, we have the Giants. And I think last time I had the Giants taking Michael Mayo, but now if Darren Wall, it's not going to be a tight end. I think it's a wide receiver, and I think it's going to be, there he is, Jalen Hyatt. I think that's the wide receiver they take, and that's the pick they make here. So, and then next up here, we have the Dallas Cowboys. This is an interesting one. They are down a tight end right now, and I think they're looking for more offensive weapons. They're going to draft Michael Mayo there at 26. I think that is their pick. Because they do, of course now just Schultz gone as of today. They need a tight end. He's an exceptional talent at tight end. And they're going to want to get his money off. They're trying to rebuild that offense, get it back to what it should be. And again, a guy like him can really help that out. So I think that should be the Dallas pick. So next up here, we have Buffalo. And Buffalo is in an interesting spot here. Because what they need really right now, in my opinion, is middle linebacker. Because they just addressed running back today with Damian Harris getting signed. I don't think they need to draft anyone. But the thing is, right now, they're not in the range where they can do that. Like, I just don't think, like, any of the guys they get after right here would be a reach, in my opinion. So I think they're going to trade back here. I'm going to say they trade back with the Los Angeles Rams. I think they're going to trade. They're not going to trade that far down, but they are going to trade. So let's put that trade in here. Because LA is looking to trade back up to the first round. They need first round picks to help them out. And so I think they're definitely willing to trade into the first round. And they're going to trade the 36th pick here in the second round. And they're going to trade a 5th round pick. And they're going to trade a 6th. This Clem's not enough. Okay. Well, I guess they're not trying to 6 then. Never mind. Alright, let's fill this out here. Alright, so they're going to trade the second round pick. And then I'll say, you know what, they're going to trade their 2024 fourth and a 6th. So that's their picks. They're going to trade some from next year too. They're going to trade up here. And what they're going to do here, I think, Los Angeles, they need help all over the place, but they need some cornerback help. And I say they go Cam Smith here out of South Carolina. So next up here, we have the Bengals, and this one's obvious here. They lost both their starting safeties in free agency. They're going to take Brian Branch out of Alabama. I think that's their pick easily. That's just where they go here. And then next up here, the New Orleans Saints. And what the Saints do here is they have holes all over the place. They're going to need a lot of help, but I think where they mainly go, like the only place I don't think they need help is the O-line. And I think what they do is I think Edge Russell is going to be an area they need to improve on. But since, you know, Cam Jordan's getting up there on 8, and they just lost Davenport. So I'm going to say Nolan Smith out of Georgia is the pick there at 29. Next up here we have Philadelphia. Once again here on what Philly does here is going to be interesting. Because they lost a decent bit here. They lost offensive guards. They've lost a whole bunch of stuff here. So what I'm really thinking is they're going to look for a safety here. So I'm just trying to see what all safeties are available right now. This not much here. Let's see here what's safety. What's available? Because I think that's what they're going to be looking for. Jordan Battle's kind of a reach. I think he's a later pick. So they may not go safety here just because a lot of these guys are out of, like, seem a little out there to get right now. Cornerback's not an issue. But interior line, I think actually, thinking on here, I could see Philly trading down. And honestly, I'm going to have them trade down here. I think they're going to trade down with, I could see someone like Arizona trading up here. So let's do that. Let's have Arizona. I think Arizona's going to trade up here with Philadelphia. Because Philadelphia right now, they're just out of range. Like, it's too early for them to take what they probably want to take. So that's what they're going to do here. So they're going to trade a second and a fourth to, Arizona's going to trade a second and a fourth to Philly. Philly's first round pick here. And what, the Cardinals are going to do here is they're going to take Dwayne Jones, the offensive tackle out of Ohio State, to get, Colin Moore some more help on the offensive line. That's now they've been looking for. They need to help improve there. I think he's a perfect pick right there, authority. Next up here, the Kansas City Chiefs at 31. And where they're going to go here is, I think the Chiefs, not much in the way of holes here, but they do have the whole left tackle, and I think Darnell Wright is the pick at the left tackle there. So now this is the innocent spot for the Steelers here. A lot of their tackle and offensive line picks are gone here at this point at 32. Now, do I think they're trading down? I do not think they're going to trade down. I think what they're going to do is they're going to stand here, and they're going to get the guy they want. And the guy they want is going to be Jack Campbell, the linebacker of Iowa. That is who they take with this pick. They need middle linebacking help. This guy's a middle linebacker. He can get it done. That's the pick at 32. Because that's a crucial area they need help in. They go get him, and I think that should help solve the middle linebacker problems. Next up here, we have Houston. Houston, once again, I think they look for more weapons, and what they do here of this pick is they're going to go Zay Flowers, wide receiver out of Boston College. Get them some more weapons. So then next up here we have the Eagles, once again trained down with the Arizona Cardinals, and I think what they do here is now they're still not going safety because it's too far out, but I do think they go cornerback here, get some youth in there, and I think they're going to go take a risk on Keely Wingo. I think they do take the risk. I think he's a guy who can be developed into a very good player. It just has to, he needs to be developed so he can become that, but I think that's a good place for him to be, and I think they can develop him without forcing him to, have to play right away. The next up here we have the Indianapolis Colts, and I think the Colts, they're in an interesting spot here. I think with this pick, they are going to go a weapon on offense here to help CJ Stroud. Because they do need some improvement, especially wide receiver wise. So I do think what they actually do is I think they go Josh Downs out of North Carolina. He's a little bit high, but they do need some help wide receiver wise. I think that's where they go that second round pick here. Now next up we have Buffalo. In Buffalo, they did address the running back problem already, so I'm not gonna have them go that. I think where they go is linebacker, and what they're gonna do is they're gonna draft Trenton Simpson out of Clemson. I think that is their pick in linebacker. They'll should help out solve the whole hole Tremaine Edmonds left when he went to Chicago in the offseason here. So next up here we have Seattle. With their pick here, I think they're gonna go cornerback, and they're gonna go Emmanuel Forbes. I think that's their pick. Next up here we have the Las Vegas Raiders. They got a big tight end hole here. A bunch of other holes as well. But I think that's where they go after it. And I think they go Darnell Washington out of Georgia. I think that's their pick right now. So the next up here we have the Carolina Panthers. I think once again this is a team that's going to look at weapons or offensive line for Anthony Richardson. They're not going to go Jamil Gibbs because they just signed Miles Sanders as a running back. I don't think Dalton Kincaid either because they do have Tremble at tight end. So I don't think they go there. What I think they do here is I think they're going to go offensive line. They did that last year. They do it again. And I think they're going to take Steve Avila out of TCU. They get some interior line help. And they should, be able to protect Anthony Richardson because they do, they got to protect the guy who you think the face of the franchise is, if you know what I mean. So you got to invest in that. I think that's what they do there. Next up here we have the New Orleans Saints. And Saints, another interesting one. But I think what they do here is they're going to take a risk. And then they go Mazie Smith, defensive lineman, out of Michigan State. They need help with the defensive line now. It's getting very old, or they've lost talent due to free agency. I think they go defensive line once again here. Next up here we have the Titans. And the Titans, I think what they do here, this is a shocker, but it's a full shock. I think they take Jamil Gibbs. They're looking at trading Derrick Henry right now, and I think that possibly does happen. So I think that's where they do take. They do decide to take the next big running back in line, who they feel is going to be Jamil Gibbs, in my opinion. Because honestly, I think Henry getting traded is pretty likely to happen, in my opinion. That's this pick happened. I would say Henry gets traded around the draft or during the draft. I would say, and I think they take Jamil Gibbs. I think there's definitely a good chance that Henry is going to get traded here within the next couple before the season begins here. So that's why I have Jamil Gibbs going the Titans. We'll see. If situation changes next mock draft, that won't happen. But as of right now, that kind of seems to be what the case is. So that's what I'm going to go with. Next up here we have Cleveland. They need wide receiver help and bad. And they're going to go Kayshon Boutte out of LSU. He's going to get picked pretty highly here, but there's a lot of great talent for this guy. And he can be a very good wide receiver. And I think he's the kind of guy who can turn into a big name. And that's what Cleveland really needs right now. They need a great number 2. This is the kind of guy who can go help and make that happen. So I think that's the pick up there. The next up here we have the New York Jets. I think Jets-wise, I think what they do here is they are going to go. Let's see what's around here. Let's see. I think what they do here. This is let's see. Yeah. This kind of makes I think they actually are gonna go. There's definitely some place they could look at here. I do think is tight end. I think that is one place they do need to improve at, and I think they're gonna take Dalton Kincaid here. Because they're going to have Aaron Rodgers here, so they're going to want to get some weapons for him. I think a tight end right there is a good call. I think that should help them out because their tight end is not the best right now. So definitely they need improvement. And next up here we have the Atlanta Falcons. They need edge rushing help. And I think they go Drew Sanders here. He had a lot of sacks this year because he was a linebacker playing off the edge. So kind of like, TJ Watt, how he's a linebacker, but he plays edge. Same thing here with Sanders. He did that at Arkansas, had a lot of sacks. He had very similar stats, actually, to Will Anderson if not actually better, more sacks I think toward the end. So I think this is a great sleeper pick for Atlanta. They need some help pass rushing. This is the kind of guy who can really help them out with the pass rush, and I think that's definitely a good area for them to look at in this draft. Next up here, we got the Green Bay Packers, and what I think the Packers do here is they're going to once again he'll help Justin Fields out and get some more line. They're going to draft, let's see, he's a center, so I'm not going to go him. They don't really need a center right now. They need more actually like guard or something here. So let's see what guards are at. Okay. So I think Cody Motz, that is a guard. I think that's where they're going to go with that pick now. Because they're going to continue to look at that offensive line. Youth, get more youth here because with Jordan Love, they do think he's face of the future here. So you got to get some young talent and be able to protect him. And they've had a decent line, but it's got a lot of aids and a lot of injuries recently. So I think they're gonna go and kind of try to get that little bit. Because them taking defense is a little odd because their defense really is not much of a problem right now. They have a very good defense. It's the offense that has areas you gotta look at. Now next up here, the New England Patriots. This is an interesting one here, but I think what they do here is they're gonna do they're going to get a center here, and I think they're going to go John Michael Schmitz out of Minnesota. And next up here we have the Washington Commanders. What I think they do is they're going to go get a tight end here. And I think what that's going to be is Luke Musgrave out of Oregon State. I think that's what they'll pick. They need some help offensively with weapons. That's the kind of guy they can draft to help them out. Next up here we have Detroit. And Detroit, with this pick here, they are going to go cornerback, and we're going to go Clark Phillips III out of Utah. So, to the one Lions fan who's mad about them not getting a cornerback, they just did, so don't complain. Just kidding, yeah. But they did get a cornerback there, so you should be happy now. Next up here, the Steelers at pick 49. This is a tough space for them to be. I'm not sure what else there is that they really want. D-line's an area that they definitely need to look at. And I think that's what they address right here with that pick. I think Zakia Ika out of Baylor, defensive lineman. I think he's the pick right there for Pittsburgh. I think they need help there. That's what they do. So next up here we have Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay looked, I think right now, what they do is they did lose a cornerback in to the Titans. I can't think of his name right now, but I think that's where they actually go. I think Tyreek Stevenson is the next pick there by Tampa Bay. Now, so next up here we have Miami, and Miami is an interesting one. I think they're going to go the running back here. And where was he? Let's see. There he is. Devin Arcane out of Texas A&M. I think that's who they pick right there. They try to get themselves a running back who can, because right now they don't have 100% great running backs. They have good ones like Raheem Mostert is good and stuff, but they don't have the star running back. Devin Arcane I think has a lot of potential to become that. He's not as good as Bijan Robinson, but he's still a very good running back, and I think he can turn into something. So I think that's the pick Miami takes right there. And now 52 here. Seattle, what I'm going to say they take is they don't need, I think D-lines, no, I think they're going to address that again. I think Tuli Tupuote out of USC, I think that's how you say his name. I think that's who they picked there. I do think D-line is a place they do look. And then next up here we have the Chicago Bears. I think they go Edson, and I think they go Isaiah Foskey out of Notre Dame here. I think that's the pick. Because they're going to continue to build off the defense. I think that's the pick they take there. And next up here we have the Los Angeles Chargers. And what they're going to take is they're going to take a running back here. And it's going to be Zach Charbonnet here. I think that's their pick. Because Austin Eckler, most like if he's getting traded, going to need the running back. That's the pick right there. He's got a lot of great potential. I think he can be a good running back. Not on the level as Eckler, but he can be a good starter who can help you, win some games. So next up here we have Detroit again. And Detroit here, I think they're going to take a tight end and get Jared Goff some weapons. They like their tight ends out of Iowa. Of course, T.J. Hawkinson was a great success for him. I think they do that again with Sam Laporta at tight end. So next up here we have the Jacksonville Jaguars. And who they take right here is going to be B.J. Ojulari, the edge rusher out of LSU. They need some help on the defense, edge rushing wise. They're going to go and they're going to get him, I think. That's the right move there. So next up here we have the New York Giants. And I think what the Giants are going to do here is a lot of things they can do. But what I really think they do is, they do have some good edge with Thibodeaux. But I think they're going to want to get the other side pretty good, because they have a good defensive line, but they do need another good pass rush on the other side, and I think that's going to be Will McDonald the fourth out of Iowa State. I think that's the pick there. So next up here we have the Dallas Cowboys. A lot of instant places they can go, but I do think they go cornerback of Julius Brents. I think that's the pick there. Continue to solidify that defense, get some more help there, and get another good number 2 guy behind Trayvon Diggs. And that's what they do. Buffalo here with this pick. They don't need the safety help, so I don't think they go safety there. I think here, honestly, if they may decide to go edge rusher here, they do need some. I think actually, no, I don't think edge rusher will be filled here. Yeah, I think actually what they do here, I think it could actually be D-line. I think it could actually be Keanu Benton. I think actually that could be who it is. I do think they do look at the D-line a little bit, try to check it up on the defense, especially interior-wise. They don't need help on the edge because they do have Von Miller. And of course, I think Rousseau did look good on the other edge, but they may need some help interiorly to help out Ed Oliver. So this could be a good number 2 guy to be on the other side of Ed Oliver and help out. So yeah, that's what I think the pick is. And now next up here we have Cincinnati. But I think what happens here with Cincinnati's pick is someone's gonna trade up. Because they have some draft capital. I think the Bengals will be willing to listen here. So I think we have a trade. And this trade here is going to be with the Philadelphia Eagles. They're going to trade up here a couple spots. They're going to trade up from 62 to 60. And they're going to give up their 4th round pick. No, they're going to give up. Yeah, they're going to redo that. Okay. They're going to trade their 3rd. And they're going to trade a 7th. So no. And it's... No. Alright, well... That's just... Yeah, that's the trade right now. I don't think that's actually what it'll be. Because that's a little bit, but that's the same way this thing is going to make it work for some reason. So that's what it is. And they're going to take this big heel, a safety, Antonio Johnson out of Texas A&M. So they do address the safety position right there. Next up here we have Chicago. They've addressed the D-line a lot, but I think with this pick here, they're going to go O-line, and Matthew Bergeron is the pick there. Try to help protect Justin Fields, make sure he doesn't get killed. Next up here we have the Eagles. Oh, I think that's supposed to go to the Bengals. Oh, alright, well. Yeah, Bengals don't want a 2nd round pick in this draft for some reason. Alright, Eagles here. They're going to take... I think interior line, I think they need to go out after, they did have a early departure yesterday, went to the Steelers. I can't think of his name right now, but he's fairly good, one of those starters. So I think they're going to go Joe Typeman, interior offensive lineman out of Wisconsin. So next up here we have Kansas City. Kansas City needs some edge rushing help. I think they're going to go Dale Call, that's out of Auburn. Try to replace what Frank Clark was for that defensive line. And continue to help out with some of the younger guys on that line. So next up here we have the Raiders. And Raiders here, I think they're going to take a linebacker. I think they take Dion Henley out of Washington State. I think they do. Look at that linebacker position a little bit after Blake Martinez retired in the middle of the season last year. And I think that's what they do, is they do go out and they get a replacement for him. And, they get some help too with, because they didn't have Spillane, Robert Spillane. I think that was a good pickup. And I think they want to help solidify him with Henley there, I think. Next up here, now finally in the third round, Houston. So I'm going to make this go quick because this is taking forever. Houston, I'm say they're going to continue to build up here on offense, but they're going to do themselves a center and Luke Whitebloor out of Ohio State. I think that's the pick right there. Arizona right now, I think what they do is they get some more edge rushing help. I think Keon White out of Texas, they'll pick right there. The Denver Broncos here with this pick, I think they go edge rusher again here. I think that's going to be Zach Harrison, though, out of Ohio State. I think that's the pick right there is Zach Harrison. And then Denver again here with this next pick. What they do with this pick is they're going to go defensive line here. I think they're going to go Graven Dexter out of Florida to get some more help with the D-line now because it's not the best right now. It needs a lot more improvement, especially after trading Bradley Chubb. And these two picks would help them out in that situation now. So next up here we have the Los Angeles Rams. I think what LA does here is they're going to do a shock oil. I think they draft Hendon Hooker, the quarterback out of Tennessee, and help develop him for a year because it does seem like Matt Stafford has a lot of big injury problems. And that could be a problem down the road. So I'm going to say here they draft Hendon Hooker as an insurance policy, and hopefully they can develop him into being a good starter in a year or two. Because I do think if you develop Hendon Hooker, he could turn into something pretty good. Because he definitely did show he has potential. Next up, you have Las Vegas. And with Las Vegas here, I'm going to say they're going to go cornerback. DJ Turner is the pick. They need some help defensively in the secondary. That's to be a guy who can come out and help you out. And then next up here, we have the New Orleans Saints. And I think they're going to go with the safety, Sidney Brown here. Out of Illinois, they need some safety help after last year having some departures. I think he helps out there, and that's to be a good pick for them. The Tennessee Titans here, I think they're gonna go here with another edge rusher and Andre Carter II out of Army. I think that's their pick right there. Next up here we have Houston, and what Houston does here again is I think Houston goes after an offensive tackle to help out with I think side help, kind of help out here with Bryce Young and go offensive line again. They're going to go Jalen Duncan out of Maryland. So next up here we have the Jets. Jets, I think they're going to go actually with safety, and I think they're going to go Chris Smith II right here out of Georgia. I think that's the pick right there. Next up here we have Atlanta, and what Atlanta does here, they really addressed edge rush, so I'm not going to go with that. But what I do think they address right here is another wide receiver, and I think they're going to draft Marvin Mims out of Oklahoma. I think that's their pick right there. Next up here, the New England Patriots, and what I have the New England Patriots doing here is I think they get themselves some cornerback help, and they're going to draft Eli Ricks out of Alabama. I think that's their pick right there. The next up here, the LA Rams. Once again, I think they're going to go, I think they're going to go defensively on that side of the ball, and they're going to go here. I think is a middle linebacker here, Henry To'oTo'o out of Alabama. I think that's the pick right there. Next up here, we have the Green Bay Packers. They do have some holes at right now, tight end. So then I'm going to go Tucker Kraft out of South Dakota State. I think that's the pick right there. Next up here, we have the Indianapolis Colts. And I think the Colts here are going to go with, there's a lot of places they can go. I think they go wide receiver again and go with C. Rice out of SMU. And next up here, we have the Steelers. And with the Steelers pick, this is an interesting one. A lot of places they can go. Definitely kind of all over the place here. Not much for offensive tackle-wise. There's definitely some, interesting stuff here. But they do need wide receivers. So I would wonder, I do think they could look at that here. But there's a lot of instant places they can go. But what I think they do here is they do draft an offensive lineman. And they draft a center of the future in Jarrett Patterson out of Notre Dame. He's kind of a high reach pick there. But I think he's going to be a perfect fit in Pittsburgh. Especially, Mason Cole's been a very good center. But Jarrett Patterson, I think, got some great potential to be a very good center. And I think he's a good pick here in the third round. Next up here we have Detroit. And Detroit here, I think they're going to go with some linebacking help here with Noah Sewell out of Oregon. So they're going to reunite Penny with Noah. So both of the Bulls are going to get to play together. And they get some linebacking help in Detroit. Next up here we have Tampa Bay. I think Tampa Bay here, they're going to go with... There's a lot of places they can go. They did address cornerback. I think they're going to address offensive line again here, though. So, I think they're going to go... Let's see. Who's all out there offensive line-wise? O-line... I think what they're going to do is... Let me find them here. So many guys, you got to take a little bit to find them sometimes. There he is. Blake Freeland out of BYU. I think that's the pick right there. Get some more young talent on the offensive line, which struggled immensely last year with injuries. Next up here we have Seattle. And what Seattle does here is, I think they do get some more edge rushing depth here. And they're going to draft Felix Alonde-Uzama. I think that's the pick there. Get them some depth help here. So next up here we have the Miami Dolphins. And what I think they do is they're going to get a third wide receiver here, I think. They're going to get no three. They got some great talent with Waddle. And they got Tyreek Hill. They love the speed. And this guy right here in Cincinnati, Tyler Scott, he has a lot of speed. And I think he is going to be the pick right there. They're going to get some more great speed into that wide receiving core. And, they're going to help try to build up and continue to be a very good team. So next up here, Los Angeles Chargers. They're going to take here, I think, Charger-wise... I think they can go here. I'm surprised they go safety and try to get some at the strengths at the free safety to help out. Yeah, actually, I think I'm gonna go with that. I think Jermaine. Not bad. I think I'm gonna go Jermaine Robinson here actually. But I think that's gonna be a safety pick there. I'll try to get some help for Derwin James at the free safety position. And I think that is where they go. Next up, we got Baltimore. Baltimore, I think they're going to go wide receiver here. And they're going to go Cedric Tillman out of Tennessee. Next up here, we have Minnesota. And Minnesota here, I think they're going to go safety. And they're going to go Jordan Battle right here out of Alabama. I think that's the pick. Next up here, we have Jacksonville. I'm going to say Jacksonville with the pick here. What they do is they're going to go cornerback. And I think they go Darius Russ out of South Carolina. Next up here we have the New York Jets. What I think they do here is I think they do go safety here, and I think they're going to go with J.L. Skinner out of Boise State. Next up here we have the Dallas Cowboys. And to me, Abe Dohor, the edge rusher Northwestern, finally gets drafted here by Dallas as some edge rushing help to help out, with Micah Parsons and Dexter Lawrence. No, not Dexter Lawrence. I think that's first name, but Lawrence, they're all edge rusher there. They're going to get some edge rushing depth right there for the Cowboys. Next up, Buffalo here. I think they go wide receiver, and I'm going to go Nathan Dell here. They did just lose their third receiver. They did release him. I think they're going to draft one here. I think that's the pick. So next up here we have the Bengals. And I think they're going to take a safety here. And I think they're going to take Jahlil Brown, another safety, to try to help out after losing both their safeties, Vaughn Bell and Jesse Bates, in the offseason here during free agency. So next up here we have the Carolina Panthers. And what they're going to take here is I think they're going to try to get some weapons. And I think they're going to do Parker Washington, the wide receiver out of Penn State. I think they're going to look at him and see if he can be a weapon in that wide receiver room. So next up here, the Bengals again. I think the Bengals are going to go cornerback with Kyu Blue Kelly. They do need some cornerback help. They did have some leave in the, I think they have Eli Apple as a free agent. They're going to look for some help there. I think that's their pick. Next up here, Kansas City. I think Kansas City here, they're going to take a wide receiver, and I think they're going to go A.T. Perry right there. Next up here, we got Arizona. Arizona here, I think they're going to go cornerback, because they did just lose their cornerback. They're going to go Garrett Williams here with that pick. Next up here, we have Washington. And I think Washington takes a shot here, and they're going to go Tanner McKee, the quarterback out of Stanford. They're going to take a shot at him. And next up here, we have the Cleveland Browns. And I think the Cleveland Browns here, who they take, Let's see if we can find. There he is. Byron Young out of Alabama. I think they're gonna go with a defensive tackle, like a nose tackle there. I think that's where they go there. Next up here, the San Francisco 49ers. I think what they do is they're going to go offensive tackle, and they're going to go Tyler Steen out of Alabama. That's the pick right there. Next up here, we have the Las Vegas Raiders, and I think what they do right here is they're going to go for Nets Russell Hill because, Chandler Jones wasn't the best last year. I think they're going to go with Byron Young out of Tennessee. I think that's their pick right there. Next up here, we have San Francisco 49ers again, and what they do here for this one is they're going to go linebacker, and they're going to go D. Marvin Overshown out of Texas. I think that's their pick right there. They do need some linebacking help. And with the next pick here, they're going to go with cornerback. They did lose a lot of cornerbacks. Devarius Hodges Tomlinson. He's the pick of cornerback right there for San Francisco. And now our final pick here on the mock draft. And oh, geez, it's been 50 minutes. Did not mean for it to be that long. Alright, the last pick here on the draft, I think Chicago goes after a running back. And I think they decided to go after Kenny McIntosh out of Georgia there. So that really finishes off for this mock draft. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please comment, like, and subscribe. And if you guys want to stay up to tune for all sorts of different stuff, I have a whole bunch of sports news and videos. And if you like this mock draft, please let me know. And stay tuned for more, because we're going to have a lot more, especially when it comes up to the draft. You'll have more mock drafts. And yeah, it should be fun. Thank you guys for watching.